So in order to get into this whole Capricorn, Aquarius, hello, collective. My name is Kristen Simone Hansen, and welcome to Secret Secrets. Okay, so to give you a little bit of a background, I am Kristen and I am a healer. In this video, you are going to get a full rundown of Capricorn and Aquarius and their energy in terms of the Pluto transit. So understanding how to navigate yourself if you have Capricorn and Aquarius in your top three, most importantly, or in your North Node, and how to position yourself for a big transformation happening from Capricorn and now moving into Aquarius and what to expect. To further understand yourself and how to navigate this energy by becoming a personalized client with me, the link is here in the bio, and through this package we will work together in terms of understanding how to navigate this change and this transformation and how to pivot yourself and position yourself for a much better result than maybe what went on last time in terms of not necessarily being prepared for the transit beforehand. Keep in mind, this video can be consumed by anyone of the collective of any astrological alignment simply because this is also a way to understand how we all are affected by these Plutonian energies and how we can navigate ourselves based on where Aquarius and Capricorn fall within our own charts, or the 10th house and the 11th house. Also, let me know where you are listening in the world. You guys know I'm a global citizen, and I like to connect with all of you on a worldly and global level. Now, let's get into this. So I will break it up like this. I'm going to start with the pros and cons of the Capricorn age, or I guess the Capricorn Pluto. And then I will go into the pros and cons of the Aqua Pluto. And then I will get into what it means for your Aquarius placements to be in the Capricorn Pluto, and also, or I guess I will wrap up with how it is for you with Capricorn placements moving into the new era of Aquarius along with your Aquarius placements, which sounds a little confusing, but it's basically, you guys have been requesting that I do this video or explain to you what it's going to be like to transition from such a big transformation if you have Capricorn placements, especially in your top three, or for those of you with Capricorn stelliums or Capricorn nodes, but then you also have a strong Aqua placement. So for example, this is for the person with like the Capricorn Sun, Aquarius rising, Capricorn Sun, Aquarius Moon, Aquarius Sun with Capricorn Moon and Capricorn rising. Different things like that, okay? Or the Capricorn North Node with the Aquarius Midheaven, okay? So this video is for you, and that's going to be the last thing I explain, and how to expect, I guess, that transition and what it is that is going to feel like, and how you are more prepared than other Aqua placements to deal with it and navigate it in a good way, and most importantly, how you guys are carrying better karma than the average Aqua who's going to be reaping what they've sown for the next 20 or so years as the universe intends to expand them, grow them, and turn them into the true water bearers that they are meant to be, and take them out of the rebel with no cause, bully, or dark-sided, sometimes reptilian energy that they can embody in their dark side, okay? So let's get into it. Some of the pros for the Capricorn Pluto. It was all about like a started from the bottom, now we're here kind of energy, literally. That song was a huge hit during this Pluto transit because it was the energy of the Capricorn Pluto. We saw a lot of people, and I talked about this in an old video, but we saw a lot of people, particularly like artists or people like Jeff Bezos, like we saw these big figures in our society be able to reach high heights during the Capricorn Pluto, people that we did not expect. No one expected Amazon to become what it became. No one expected these people from the trenches, because it was all about seeing those who really and truly came from the bottom of the bottom rising to the top in order to reach fruition, success, etc. So these are things that we did not expect, and we saw these big turnarounds all throughout the Capricorn Pluto transit. And why is that? Because that's what Capricorn is about. Capricorn is about taking yourself from the bottom and bringing yourself all the way to the top, climbing up that mountain, doing it all through hard work, grit, hustle, believing in yourself against all odds. We also saw in pop culture things like haters, right? Like, what does it mean to really understand the depths of people hating you or being envious of you or jealous of you, wanting to impede on your success or what it is that you were doing? That was a big conversation, because that's Capricorn energy, right? Power, and how power can be a cause of a lot of backlash. Other big pros, again, we saw big empire like energy. Everyone was focused on being bigger, being more exuding themselves in a way that was all about power, money, darkness, depth. Similar, and we also saw people going back into the Pluto and Scorpio era in order to bring back things in pop culture, which tends to be the case a lot of the time. Remember to keep this in mind when you are dealing with a Plutonian age. It'll always go back to the age in which it conjuncts with, or sextiles with, has some kind of good relationship with, let's say that. It'll always go back to the age right before it's one in order to bring back pop culture themes. So, for example, we're seeing now during the Aquarian age, bringing back themes from the Sagittarian Pluto transit. During the Capricorn transit, we saw a lot of themes come back from the Pluto and Scorpio transit. Music, ways of dressing, styles, different things like that. This is how pop culture will celebrate itself, by bringing back the Pluto transit that existed right beforehand, that felt the most in conjunction with its energy. So again, a lot of darkness, because it was the dark side of Saturn. A hyper focus on the popularity of people who actually had Capricorn placement. So that was a big thing that we saw in pop culture, people really enjoying and liking people that were once Capricorns in the past. But that's going to be even more emphasized during the Pluto Aqua transit. And also, if you were a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising, during the beginning of this transit, you kind of shot directly into popularity quite quickly, whether it was a school environment, home, work, etc. All eyes were on you within the first 4 years of this transit. It felt like you were kind of on a really big path in terms of your trajectory of climbing up that mountain and reaching whatever goals it is that you had set for yourself. Even though you guys immediately experienced some kind of trauma when the Pluto transit happened, you were moving quickly toward a new life. So it was almost like through every hit, you were just going up. That was something that tended to happen, and also a lot of focus was on you all throughout this Pluto transit, frankly. Whether in the beginning it kind of was more like a good focus, like again, popularity is something you've had on and off all throughout these 15 years. There's something about you that people have been hyper focused on, your energy, the way you do things, the way you look, the way you act. Again, it could have turned into some kind of scapegoatism, but there was such a big focus on you and your energy and who you were during the 15-year transit, and it was something that was subconscious. And a lot of the time, it again was negative, because those of us who are kind of the stars of the Pluto transit, we tend to get it the hardest. So you're going to see that happen with your Aquarius placements, which is a lot of criticism will come about for people with strong Aquarius placements. Again, a hyper focus on them and how it is that they do things and how it is that they are operating. People want to learn, or people wanted to learn from you or understand your energy, also use you in order to move forward within society, whether you knew that you had what it is that they wanted or not. When you are the center of the Pluto transit, you tend to come off like the blueprint for something, and everyone around you knows that. Another big thing that happened during the Capricorn Pluto transit was a hyper focus on authenticity. So, believing in this idea of a person's personal struggles, being able to be something that they were holding on to in order to see through their new beginning. You know, again, started from the bottom, now I'm here, I came from this, I came from that, I dealt with this thing, I dealt with that thing, and then here I am taking a full circle, and that full circle is where it is that my success is. I worked for this. People, again, really liked people that felt very real. And that is the biggest pro of the Capricorn Pluto transit was what is real, who is true, and only really aligning with that idea. People were really drawn away from what we saw in the Sagittarius Pluto, which was all about pop, right? Everything was fake, everything was poppy, everything was commercialized, very bright. Once we stepped into the Capricorn Pluto transit, it was very dark. It was literally, in terms of pop culture, things became darker. The way people projected themselves, the seriousness that they exuded, the depth, the darkness that they exuded, the emphasis on pain, struggle, resilience. We also saw the big shifts that happened in terms of power in big industries like Hollywood, and how people were taking their power back, how people were becoming in control of their careers, being able to govern and navigate their own careers. So big shifts in power and authority, and then also, again, a hyper focus on authenticity. People wanted to know that you really and truly were aligned with your narrative. No one wanted to see the pop artist anymore. No one wanted to align with the cookie cutter idea of the contrived artist, right? Even the people that we did see who have kind of that, I would say, child star background were really big on showing themselves as something different, something more authentic, something more real, something that could be felt, touched, and seen. Something that could be anywhere and with anyone and be able to exude power. I would say the Capricorn cons were things like exclusiveness. Even though it's kind of an interesting transition, because the inclusivity, we saw a rise in inclusivity during the Capricorn Pluto era. And the reason why is because how Capricorn represents inclusivity is all about anyone can have anything as long as they're willing to put in the work for it, as long as they're willing to be authentic in it, right? That's all that means, put in the work. It's not necessarily literal in a sense of you have to physically, literally work, but what is beautiful about Capricornian energy is it's anything is possible. All things are possible, right? The magic of Christmas, the magic of the moment. So anything is possible as long as it's something real, as long as it's something that has been created, as long as it's something that has been manifested. So we saw a rise in inclusivity in terms of who had power, their own personal power, and being able to identify people's humanness and step out of cookie cutter ideas about who people are. But we did see some of the cons were power struggles and the exclusiveness of people trying really hard to hold on to their systems and push out people that they did not want to see in them. It was definitely a struggle in terms of the old versus the new, power systems breaking all the way down. We literally saw the destruction of statues all over the world that have been up for hundreds of years, simply because of things that were taking place when it comes to things like human rights. All very Capricorn, right? When you think of human rights advocates, like Martin Luther King Jr., for example, is a Capricorn. Muhammad Ali is a Capricorn. Alan Watts is a Capricorn. All of them are men, but Alan Watts, who's not necessarily more of a human rights activist, but again, he was someone that represented a lot in terms of spirituality, the awakened mind, the conscious mind. He was a practicing Taoist. He came into the West after his enlightenment and spread his enlightenment all throughout. I'm a big fan of Alan Watts myself. But anyway, so this brings you back in terms of what I mean, in terms of the full circle energy of Capricorn and how Capricorn can be the initial rebel, in that instead of rebelling against the system, Capricorn will rebel against the system by creating its own. So where Aqua will rebel against the system in a more direct, in a more lighthearted way, hold a picket sign in a sense, a Capricorn will rebel against the system by literally creating a new path, creating a new world order, frankly, a new way of being, a new way of existing, go up against power and do a power versus power kind of dance. And so we saw a lot of that. The issues with authority, the issues with systems, the issues with politics, all things that were Capricorn themes. And the breaking down of political structures, of ways of being, of who's in authority, who has control, different things like that. So yeah, so again, I'm already 15 minutes, so I'm trying to keep this one simple. But anyway, so let's go into the Aquarian age or the Aquarian Pluto age, and what are some of the pros that we're going to be seeing. So again, a return of pop culture themes from the Sagittarius Pluto transit. So think Britney Spears, think Christina Aguilera, think these are American themes. So I would say, because most of you guys are in the States, so yeah, I think like Pink. In terms of fast music, we're also going to see a lot in pop culture when it comes to music that has quick turnaround. So it's two sides, right? So one side is really contrived, really robotic, auto-tune-like, really pop, 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 pop. That's Aquarius, just like it was Sagittarius, where it is more contrived, more for the masses, not necessarily deep, but more about freedom, more about fun-loving energy, light-hearted energy, and this like, happiness and this joy. And on the other side, it's music that has so much substance to it and so much depth to it, authentic voices with authentic messages and authentic sounds. When I think of the Pluto and Aquarius transit, I think of Hunger Games, because the same way how you saw one side of the world was like pink and purple and, very new agey and then technology focused, and then the other side was people literally living on the land and struggling with their resources. A transit, there is a transit around, and it's a Taurus transit around food, resources, and scarcity on a global level. These are going to be big topics for the next 10 years. And so we're going to be seeing that, right? The difference between those who are struggling and then those who are, it's seeming like, living in kind of a fantasy pop land. And one is very technology focused and one is very earth focused, trying to reclaim the earth, trying to heal that is real. Right? So just like usual, we're going to see people saying things like, oh, when it used to be, blah, blah, blah. And because the technology is going to be such a big deal, we're going to be seeing a lot of people, specifically millennials, talking about when the days when things could be felt and touched. A lot of millennials in general are going to be more focused in practical matters. So practical means like a lot of building communities. A lot of community building is big for the Pluto Aqua transit. So building towns, building their own, buying land and building their own small communities, growing their own food, different things like that. But again, being able to communicate still via technology, but then have and hold the real world. Think of movies like Ex Machina. I think that's the movie where he fell in love with the robot woman, and how the man that he visited, right, looked like a classic millennial with his beard and his glasses. But he was this genius, right? And he lived out in the woods and he lived this life, but at the same time, his entire life was hooked up to technology. So that's the other side of things, right? One that feels more real, but is intertwined with technology and how it can better our lives, kind of in a magician-like way. And then the other side is more pop, more bright color, more like free-spirited and very the glorification of alien-like themes, extraterrestrial-like themes, glorification of unique features, things that make people different, and hyper-focusing on that. That is going to be something that's on both sides, but it's on two different ways. Like on one side, it's more like how can you make yourself as unique as possible, and on the other side, it's understanding and embracing things that are naturally unique. So like, for example, with myself, I have, you probably can't see them because, hold on, Okay, so you know, these are some of my beauty marks, right? Small nevuses. And I always loved these. Well, actually, no, when I was younger, I didn't like all of them because I have them here, here, right? I realized when I got a little bit older that they pretty much were centered right where my third eye would be. So I'm happy about that. But you know, glorification of things like that. I also have scars, as you guys know. Small nevuses on my legs and things, and I love my body, right? But it's kind of the theme of hold on, gotta come back. Okay, it's kind of the theme of loving the unconventional things in the way that we look. So glorification of things that weren't necessarily considered beautiful, right? So like vitiligo, like we've been seeing, different hair types, different ways of being, existing. You get my point. So again, bodies like mine, you know, really being put on the forefront in terms of understanding its uniqueness and its beauty and its difference. So things like that in terms of beauty standards. Oh, and that also goes along with exoticism. So whereas we were seeing, and this slowly was happening during the Capricorn Pluto, but it was happening during the Capricorn Pluto in a way where it was more about against all odds, you would be beautiful. Versus during the Aquarius Pluto, it's more people are embracing you exactly as you are. So similar to what we saw during the Sagittarius Pluto, where everyone wanted to get to know other cultures, especially at the end of it. So getting to know the world and trying to make yourself kind of seem exotic. We saw that with a lot of pop artists. That is a big theme during the Aquarius Pluto transit. Travel's a big conversation. Being more global citizens of the world, but then also the way in which people are going to be more drawn to people and things that weren't necessarily popular before. So in very simple terms, if you know, having long hair was considered popular, now having short hair is going to be popular. If you know, this kind of beauty was considered the beauty standard, now this beauty standard is going to be more appealing. That which is more unique, that which is more exotic, more outer worldly, I guess, in that sense. Or outer worldly based on whatever community or narrative that you're coming from. Capricorn, Aqua Pluto is all about uniqueness winning. It's a light-hearted energy, which is good. People are all about more openness. So in terms of pop culture, it's all about how we can connect with each other, have a more light-hearted energy. I just think very Gen Z in that sense, though, because they have the Sagittarius Pluto. But just be more inclusive, more open, more connected. So we will then begin to measure each other based on our communities, based on our networks. So where we had social networks in the past, but it was more about leaders and then followers during the Aquarius Pluto, it's more about your community kind of being a part of you, the kind of community that you've created that feels like they are truly a part of your network. And that is a part of people, that is how people will increase their net worth, by being more practical with how they connect with people and how they relate to people. Humanitarianism will also get an all-time rise during the Aqua Pluto. People are going to be coming out the woodworks with solutions to long-term problems in politics and global, sorry, I was going to say global warming, but climate change and the issues going on with our climate, like the work that I do, right? It's like water pollution, different things like that. So a big emphasis on our waters, on our oceans are going to be big in pop culture as well, but that's on the other side of things. That's a little bit more in the boring range. I'll keep it in a more practical kind of pop culture range. And then also exclusiveness, anime, techno, and the new age. So things like this, tarot, alchemy, anything new agey is going to be really popular. The occult is now going to feel more natural. In the Capricorn Pluto, the occult was looked at as the devil still. So it's like, oh my gosh, the devil and devil worship. And we saw so much being exposed in Hollywood about, who they worship and how they gain power and sacrifices and things like that. During the Aquarius Pluto, it's an understanding of that energy, kind of like what I said in the Alchemy of the Devil. It's more of an understanding of what was considered once the occult and understanding it as what it truly is in terms of the New Age practices or tarot or intuition, alchemy, other worlds, guides, etc. I think I said anime as well. It's going to be really popular in pop culture, and a lot of things that are considerably Chinese, but specifically China, a little bit of Japan, I would say, but it's because yeah, I guess when you want to talk about anime, it's definitely in that range, but within that realm of existence, mainly because China is ruled by Aquarius, so China in general is on top of the Aquarian age in terms of how it does things, how it navigates its society, the way it handles its credit scores and different things like that, because it is on top of the Aquarian energy. So we're going to see a big shift toward China worldwide, and then also in pop culture. We've been seeing this gradually, especially over the past couple of years, with the shift happening toward Asia and it being more of a space of pop culture, more glorified. And so that's going to be something that takes place as well. So yeah, so I would say those are some big themes in terms of the Aquarius Pluto. So let's get into some of the cons. The biggest one, and the one that I am the most just like blah about, is inauthenticity. Major inauthenticity is one of the biggest cons of the Pluto Aqua transit. So people are going to be pretending like they care and they don't. They are going to be creating these humanitarian projects that are really just for money or for image. They're going to be saying that they're good people when they're not good people. They are going to make themselves seem unique by stealing. That's my next one, is copycatting. So inauthenticity down to copycatting. These are all dark-sided Aquarius traits, and they're going to be dark-sided Aquarius culture issues. Copycatting is a big thing, so everyone's trying to be as unique as possible, seem interesting, or homogeny is the other side as well, but we'll stick to this part for a minute. And so just literally just taking someone's identity or culture or obviously we're citizens of the world, right? But you get what I mean by that, where it's kind of like taking something in order to copycat it for popularity. And popularity is going to be a mode of financial gain. So your network, again, think of your network equaling your net worth. And because network will equal net worth, these are things that people are going to be trying to navigate as much as they can. And they do so by a lot of, again, copycatting, recreating information, lying, pretending, trying to make themselves seem in a way that they are not. And so that is something that is big during this time. Also, the glorification of mediocrity. That is another big con of the Aquarius Pluto transit, and that comes from the dark side of inclusiveness or inclusivity. The glorification of, it's like, is this really good, or do we just want to believe that it's good? Or is this really beautiful, or are we just trying to convince ourselves? Is this really talent, or is it just that it's pushing the envelope to a point of rebellion? Also, we're going to see a lot of rebelling with no cause. So kind of the joke of what I make about, to all of my wonderful people in Paris, I love you. But kind of the joke sometimes that people make about rebelling all of the time, right? And how in Paris, a lot of the time people rebel often, and hold picket signs often for very many things. And of course, the issues going on right now are very serious issues. So it's not to downplay that, but it's just the idea of what it means to live in a constant state of rebellion. A lot of battles with governments and people. It's like the people. Sorry about that, the camera cut off. But anyway, the people versus the government, the people versus the one in power. So the pro yes, that is needed. Big, movements in terms of what is happening in terms of societies. We're going to see a lot of societies push themselves forward, again, fighting back, rebelling, reclaiming themselves. It's the rise of the people, which is very big for Aquarius. And that's not going to look so pretty. That's another con. Through change, there will be a lot of difficulty and a lot of fighting, but to reach triumph. But also, like I was saying, to go back to the con of that, is rebelling without cause. So you're going to have people who are just kind of creating unnecessary disruption, needing to know the limits of what is worth fighting for and what isn't worth fighting for. Oh, and lastly, I would say one of the biggest cons is homogeny. And by homogeny, I mean everyone kind of the individual versus the masses. So the ways in which people are going to kind of, some people are going to hermit themselves, which is, and this is in terms of con, right? So there isn't anything wrong with being alone, but if it's a con, then the kind of hermiting that is extreme, the kind of loneliness that is extreme, literally closing off from the world around you and kind of going into a state, could be of paranoia, of fight, of, again, it's society versus the you, the rise of the internet conscious one, a lot of guruism, self-guruism, radicalism, and again, isolation, people in isolation, going to the internet in order to express that, their belief systems and their ideologies, feeling like you have to fight. There is like a, especially depending on the society, the culture that you are in and what's going on, it's like the desire to have to defend, protect, fight for your freedom because it's a matter of freedom, different things like that. And then the other con is homogeny, like I was saying, so groups trying to be just like one another. So extreme copycatting, like I am like the other and the other is like me. And what does it mean to kind of have everyone be the same or look alike or have the same beliefs, the same ideas? Everyone has to think that this is okay. No one can go against that idea. And if you go against that idea, then you're the problem. The loss of the individual is the other dark side of the Aquarian age. Everything being exactly the same, and everyone having the same beliefs, liking the same music, having the same ideology. Okay, so those are some dark-sided things, and we're going to get into some Capricorn celebrities that I think are going to go through a rise during this time. I'm not too big on pop culture, but there is one artist that I know is going to make a big rise during the Pluto and Aquarius transit, and that is FKA Twigs. She's like an experimental artist. And again, her, along with many other Capricorn artists, are going to become big centers of attention. A part of, and this brings me into my next point, so I started with her in order to transition over into what Capricorn placements can be prepared for, and then I'm going to finish off with Aqua placements and how you guys can prepare yourselves, especially with having strong Capricorn placements. Okay, so from her, I wanted to get kind of into what Capricorn can expect. I keep emphasizing you guys are going to be big trendsetters. All eyes are going to be on you. So musically, especially in her case because she's a musician, musically, art-wise, the way you live, down to the way you live. I've mentioned to you guys that being gurus, being healers. Healers is one of the biggest professions, mainly because of how you survived trauma. And healing is one of the biggest things that people need during the Pluto and Aquarius transit, because healing is going to be a big, lucrative business. Mainly because we are exiting an entire age, which was the Pisces age, which was the age of degradation, dehumanization, and all these difficult things. We finished it off with a Pluto in Capricorn, which was very difficult and very heavy in order to address these issues about power, to lift the veil of power. So people are going through a lot. They need healing. They need to focus on that in order to transition and change their lives. And also there's still going to be this low vibrational side of the Aqua Pluto transit, where there's going to be this constant fight between good and bad, and power and freedom, and all these different things. So healing. Healing businesses are going to take, I guess, center. They're going to kind of replace where religious practices used to be. So healing is going to be one of the center-based places that people will find themselves, and that is a part of what you guys are good at because of your experiences. Also musically, like I was saying, and when you look at someone like her, you see the way her music has been and how she kind of I don't know too much about her, but I do know that she has been buried a bit in terms of the music industry. There are a lot of artists that kind of steal from her, frankly, which is common of Capricorn. But her herself wasn't like reaching a kind of a peak, right? She kind of stayed avant-garde. Very good. Yes, on the outside it seemed very difficult, but a part of what was happening is Pluto was setting her up in a way so that when the starlight happens, and finally with the eyes being on her, she will have true authenticity. And that is what has been going on with you guys. You've been changed and transformed and redirected, and it felt like, you know, being this diamond in the rough that was never going to get out of the rough. But a part of the reason why it was because you had to refine yourself in order to create the perfect career for the Aqua Pluto, which is a career of true freedom, because now freedom will be a form of currency, which means what? People will take away your freedom in order to take away your currency. So the more free you are as an artist or as a creative or as a person, as a guru, as a healer, as an individual who owns your property and owns your home and, you know, makes money your own way, freedom is currency. And you guys have had to learn how to gain freedom over power. You've had to learn personal power over the power existing outside of you. And so what has happened is this burying that she has gone through has made it so that, yes, she perfected her craft to create something that's so uniquely her, which is very Capricorn, but then also it makes it so that she doesn't have to be at the whim of what other artists are fighting against and will be fighting against during the Aqua Pluto, which is their freedom. She's going to be able to have the kind of career that is specifically her own. Again, the uniqueness of Aquarius is starlight energy. So being able to truly be a star and then also be in the world, not of the world, right? Be able to, the water bearer, be able to bear the water without getting wet. That is Aquarius. They're not in the water, they're bearing the water. So that ability that you guys are going to have to be able to give and yet and still have your own life or have your own energy because of the ways in which you've been set up. Sometimes what it is that you lost, you were meant to lose so that you will have more freedom. For many of you that are dealing with things like homelessness, a part of the reason why you had to lose everything is because you're going to be able to live in the kind of existence where you can start from scratch in a way where you're not bound to anything. If you would have taken on that mortgage, you would have been bound to it. Now the reality is going to find itself in a way where there's more freedom around where you live and how you live, and there's abundance in that. So it's all about redirection, and redirection is protection, as I say, and rejection is also protection. So anyway, so that is some of the things for the Capricorn. Like I said, you guys are going to be all eyes on you throughout this Pluto transit. Again, big with finances, big financial gurus, teaching people how to navigate money, but not just money, pentacles. What is a pentacle? The value of freedom, right? Currency being freedom, the value of freedom, how to use your resources, utilize your resources in the best way possible. Leaders in terms of understanding the true values of life, whether it be musicianship, whether it be creativity, whether it be beauty, deep senses of embracing the personal self, and most importantly, big representers of resilience, freedom, healers, etc. Now, going into your aqua. So for you guys are sitting here with strong Capricorn placements and you just went out of this hell and now you're walking into another one. I will say some of the biggest pros when it comes to this is the fact that karma is on your side. And the reason why it's on your side is because of what you went through with the Capricorn Pluto transit, you've been beaten up enough already. Aquarius in general, and I think I mentioned this earlier, is unaware of this energy. So if you have had to be humbled through the Capricorn Pluto, yes, you will be going through more refinement with this Pluto transit, but it's a kind of refinement that can work more in your favor, where it's creating you and transitioning you, but in a way that doesn't have to be as dark or as difficult because you're already on your path. It's never about punishment when it comes to karma or refinement. Well, actually, it is about refinement. It's never about punishment, it's about refinement when it comes to Pluto. Pluto wants you to be your realest and most authentic self. Pluto is trying to take you and make you truest to the depths of what it means to dive into the authenticity of Aquarian energy, just like what has happened to you guys in Capricorn. You guys had to go from the stereotypes of Capricorn into diving deep into what it means to be leaders of substance. Not just materialism, but understanding the earth, going from a focus on materialism into understanding the focus on what has value and what has substance, going from being realist to really just being big on authenticity, going from being dark in a more negative light and going into emotional depth and being unafraid to dive into the dark and being a person of both light and dark energy. So you've had to really understand the value of Capricorn's magician energy and who it really is beyond the ego self, because most of what people think of Capricorn is the ego self. Pluto breaks down the ego in order to find the soul. So when it comes to your Aquarius placements, you are going to break down the ego in order to find the soul. So for many of you, you're going to see that transition. So because Aquarius is a healing placement, again, the water bearer, the person that brings the water without getting wet, you're going to probably find yourself in situations where you are going to be the center of that energy. So how is it that you can better nurture your relationships and nurture the people around you and nurture situations? You might literally be put into situations like relationships, for example, that have a lot of opposition. And with that, especially if you have a Capricorn, strong Capricorn placements, obviously, because relationships, romantic relationships are a big conversation for you this year. So you can literally find yourself in a romantic relationship that causes you a lot of conflict simply so that you can learn how to better heal it. So you can learn how to exist in it in a way that is more like one of acceptance, one of openness. Again, think Aquarius, so acceptance, openness, healing. You're going to be put in the kind of dynamics, especially because you're post your Capricorn, you are a leader now, right? So you are being seen in this role of leadership. People want to see you on this throne, but so you're going to be on this throne, but you're going to be going through your own Aquarian transit. So it's more understanding and emphasizing the power of your Aquarian energy while you're already sitting on your Capricornian throne due to what it is that you've done. So in the simple terms, like through the Capricorn Pluto transit, you've grown, you've transitioned, and let's say you've gotten into a place where, like, you're a Capricorn sun and you have an Aquarius rising, and let's say now you've gotten into a place where you are this big musician, and now, you know, people are looking at you, they're looking at your music, they're looking at your looks, they're looking at how you move, how you do things, everybody likes you, they're drawn to you, they love your energy. And then you have this Aquarius rising, going through all of this change and transformation. So what will happen is you're going to be looking at how you can bear water through your sound. So more emphasis on healing through your music. You're going to be put in various situations where you have to learn how to refine and change your approach to things. Is it going to be as heavy as the general Aquarius without Capricorn placements in their top 3? No. They're going to be dealing with a much more difficult obstacle because they have not transitioned through certain karma, and depending on how low vibrational their energy has been, you know, they might get ready for a beat up. And it's not punishment, it's just it's a desire to make one better, to make one more aligned, right? And so that's kind of just one of the things, and by it's not even low vibrational, it's about alignment, right? The more out of alignment, they are, the more in alignment they need to be. So because you've already gone through certain things, you're in alignment. And so the refinement is not necessarily going to feel as heavy. It's not going to feel as scary or as difficult. It's more just you're going to have to be aware of when lessons are being brought to you. If you have an Aquarius Venus, you're going to have to be aware of love lessons. You have to be aware of flexibility. You've been through this when it comes to your Capricorn, and so your Capricorn knows how to navigate the refinement of Pluto. You are already graduated from that. So when you see the energies around you asking for you to go in a certain path, don't resist it, surrender to it so you don't run up against too much opposition or Pluto having to literally rip the ground from underneath you in order to put you in the right direction. Allow yourself to be guided, because it's all about making it so that you become a better, and most of you, it is healing when you have Aquarius placements with Capricorn in this time period. So it's making it so that it's all about teaching you how to be better with your own individuality, better leaders, and better healers, the water bearers, okay? So that is the biggest thing. I would say, again, it's much more difficult to go through what you went through with Capricorn. Just don't resist the changes. You know how to follow your intuition at this point. Allow yourself to be guided into change. If you resist, Pluto will persist. So just, and be open to dynamics and situations. Like example, like I said, if you're an Aquarius Venus, if the love situation seems like it doesn't make sense, or it's something that needs more from you, it's for a reason. So be open to that, change that, transform that. Spend more time looking at high vibrational Aquarian attributes, and think about how you can better your relationship with others, how you can be more in a humanitarian spirit, how you can focus on healing your dynamics and your relationships, and again, giving situations what it is that they need the most. So that is what I have for this video. This one is quite long. I tried to make it simple, but it's a lot of information. I hope this makes you guys feel better and gives you a little bit of a peace of mind. Yeah, so I love you. Ciao.